Somewhere right now, there is another woman living the exact same life as you, and you don't even know her. Welcome to In Parallel.
I overthink whether my daughter is bored constantly.
I caught myself overthinking about something small, and then I told myself, stop, take a deep breath.
I've never seen a college student with a pacifier in their mouth.
I overthink educational decisions. Somewhere right now, there is another woman living the exact same life as you, and you don't even know her. Welcome to In Parallel.
Welcome to In Parallel. If you don't know our origin story and how this podcast came to life, please check out the pilot episode, the first episode that we're going to link down below in the description.
Today's episode is about things we overthink, things that as new moms we thought were perfect, we needed to do them, were necessary, and that we came to realize are not actually necessary, and we can let go of them, and we don't need as much. So as new moms, and for the new moms out there, we want to talk about those things here so that other moms don't overthink them.
Absolutely. I feel like this is one of those conversations that we always have with expectant moms or new moms as well. And they keep asking you if it's normal to overthink certain things, or if it's normal to have certain ideas about certain subjects. And you're like, dude, I was in your exact same position a few months ago. So we thought this episode would be a great example of things you probably should not overthink as an expectant mom or as a new mom. But before we start, we're going to go through our opening ritual, as always.
Yeah.
So we're going to start with one word for the week. What's your one word for the week?
My word of the week is cluttered.
Cluttered?
Yeah.
Wow. Care to explain?
I catch myself overthinking some small things in my life, and there are so many things that go through our head throughout the day. Our jobs, the kids, the shopping lists, groceries, a lot of things that are happening at the same time. And our minds get cluttered with so many things. So it's good to just take a step back, unclutter everything and just keep the important ones, health, well-being, spending quality time with your daughter, having fun moments with your friends, going out with your friends, having that coffee that you've thought over so many times because you had XYZ things to do. So just declutter everything and take it one step at a time.
I agree with you. I'm so happy that you joined the movement. I feel like this was my theme for January, and I decided to have one project for every month. And I got actually some feedback, and people told me we're so proud of you in a sense that in which I don't attach emotional things to stuff anymore. I'm able to get rid of some stuff, although it was not the case before. I would keep something for 5 years just because I can't separate myself from it.
Yeah.
And it's cluttering it's taking over the space in your brain.
And I think cluttering, it's more mental cluttering than physical and objects, because at this point in my life, I feel like there is a huge mental load, and everything is like a list in my head that goes on and on and on. So it's more like, letting go of all of that and, having like coping mechanisms to deal with that on a daily basis.
Yeah. I think that would be the main thing for every conversation.
Right.
Moms or not moms, honestly. 2026.
I know.
Women.
Everyone.
One word for me is grounded.
I like that.
I feel like I'm at the complete opposite today. I feel grounded. I think also because I'm kind of have more solo time these days because of logistical reasons. Like I'm spending my evenings a bit alone because my husband is traveling.
I know.
And my daughter is at nursery, but I go to work. And then when I come back, when my nanny leaves, I have like a couple of hours just for myself. And I definitely feel more grounded this week because I get that quality time alone. And something I would definitely not think about before. So I'm feeling a bit more grounded and in tune with my thoughts this week.
Okay.
I'm not saying it's going to be the case next week. It was not the case last week. But this week, grounded. So I'm going to take it.
Amazing. Like that for you.
Thank you.
Small wins this week.
My win for the week is that I made all my dinners at home.
Wow.
Yeah, that's it. I don't have anything else. I just made my dinners at home.
That in itself is an amazing win. I mean, I wish I could do that at this point. I have so many things going on at the same time. Sometimes I finish my work so late. I just want to go to sleep. And thank God I have help so I can have homemade dinners and stuff. But I do miss a lot making my own food and, just the joy of making it yourself and smelling the spices and the things brewing at the same time in your kitchen and then having the joy of eating it after, the satisfaction of eating something you made with your own hands.
Yeah.
Yeah, I miss that.
I mean, I'm not sure I'm a master chef, and I'm not a, I'm not a good cook at all. So if I say I made my dinners at home, it's probably a 10-minute thing, some chicken and some rice and some peppers, and I would eat the same thing for 3 days, and that's fine for me.
Honestly, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I mean, as long as it's healthy, it's homemade, it's clean, and you've made it yourself. The satisfaction of doing that. I mean, it doesn't matter if it's just porridge in the morning,
100%.
Anything.
100%. So I'll take that.
Amazing.
I'm taking extra steps this week.
My small win this week, I mean, it's not that small for me because I used to, react in the opposite direction before. I caught myself overthinking about something small and then I told myself, stop, take a deep breath. Okay. And, you don't need to overthink about it. I didn't react on that, that emotional, prompt, exactly. Yeah. So my daughter was sick. I mean, she's just got the flu.
Yeah.
It's very common these days, winter time, weather is changing a lot. And I had this thing from when she was a newborn, when babies get sick, you have to go get their temp every 2 hours. You check on them all the time. You go into the room. Sometimes I used to even check if she's still breathing. You put the finger under the nose and check if they're still breathing. Yeah, but I'm getting, less involved. Not that I don't care. Of course I do. I mean, I love my daughter more than anything else. But, just checking the temp every half an hour, I stop and I'm like, why should I go and interrupt her sleep potentially and go check the temp? Yep. She looks like she's sleeping peacefully. She's fine. If something was wrong, I could see it from the camera. I could feel it myself. Just let her sleep peacefully. She's going to sleep through it. She's going to be fine in the morning. We're going to go to the park. We're going to play. Nothing happened. And I just didn't act on it. And I was super happy I didn't because she ended up being okay.
Fortunately, I'm one of those people who had an outlet. The outlet sock to track the heart rate.
I wanted to get that, but I knew I would get obsessed. And it's the same thing for, the sports bands and sports watches that people get. I used to have one I obsessed over all the time. That's why I ended up not wearing it anymore. Yeah. And I knew the same thing was going to happen with the outlets, which is why I did not end up purchasing it, even though I think it's a great device. And I think we have an upcoming episode about products and things that we think are useful or useless. Yeah. And we'll get
100%.
Yeah, we'll talk more about that there.
I think this ties really well to the next question about things we're releasing this week. And my thing that I'm releasing relates really well to what you just said. You know how I'm obsessed with tracking? The outlet, I have the Whoop, I have the Oura, I have both. I'm an overconsumer sometimes on certain things, and it's not good. Don't recommend to do all of these things. But with my coach, you know how I'm working with a coach now for for nutrition and fitness. And what I used to do is that, for example, for food, I would track my items first and then I would eat them afterwards. Or for example, if I see something that I really want, I would track it first to give myself the permission to have it. And if it fits within the budget of macros that I have, or else I won't be eating it at all. And what she noticed is that it was creating more stress than anything else for me, especially given the last couple of weeks. They were so movemented with a lot of things. So she was like, you know what? We're going to remove tracking. We're going to remove tracking from MyFitnessPal for a couple of weeks. And Ramadan is coming up. So we'll see what happens by then, You know what was my reaction? I completely panicked. I felt the hair in my head straighten up. I was like, what do you mean? I felt like I was being thrown in the unknown because I'm so obsessed with tracking and having numbers to dictate my life. But I haven't tracked for 4 days and I feel so liberated.
That's great.
So liberated. But again, I think it pushes you to be in tune with yourself and trust yourself.
Absolutely.
I know what proteins look like, I know what fat looks like, and I know what carbs look like. So I'm kind of able to estimate without being having the permission of MyFitnessPal to enjoy something. You
I
know?
completely get it. I was in your shoes a couple of years back when I was, just starting my fitness journey. And I'm not saying I'm like the fittest person on earth right now, especially with
Cheers.
motherhood and everything. I'm not, trust me. And yeah, I used to track every single thing, even the sauce that would go into the salad, the dressing, everything, like even the small things. If I, had a small, energy ball with my tea in the morning or after a meal, I would track that as well, every single thing. And someday it was just, adding more onto my mental load. And I was like, I'll stop it. It's not good for me. It's taking so much time, the time it takes to track every single thing you eat during the day. It's just insane. So I thought, I'm going to stop this. I'm just going to be an intuitive eater. And, I know, as you said, what protein looks like. I know what carbs look like. And with time, you get used to how what kind of portions you need for your body, for your goals. And you just, kind of, pick it with your eye. With your eye what the amount you should eat or need to eat looks like. And you just...
I don't think this is something I absolutely admire this in you, that you're able to do that intuitively and kind of be in tune with your being. I think I'm able to accept it because I know there is a deadline and I know that Ramadan is coming up. We're going to go back to tracking and deficit, and I'm able to allow myself this kind of living freely for a couple of weeks because I know something else is coming. But I think it's a good exercise. I don't think I would ever jump in the wilderness and trust myself with intuitive eating, because I intuitively like sugar, I intuitively want carbs, and I intuitively want cake after dinner. So it's not gonna happen.
Yeah, who doesn't like carbs? If you don't like carbs, you're not normal. I mean, who doesn't like a sweet treat after dinner or after a lunch? Everyone does. I think it would be weird not to want to. But don't get me wrong. I still do pay attention to what I eat. If I go out and there is a birthday and there's sweets and stuff, I'm not gonna just go there and eat everything. I'm gonna pay attention to what I'm eating. Or if I do overeat sometimes because I'm not in a deficit or I'm not eating just the right calories every day, I will go for a walk or I'll do like...
You compensate a little.
Compensate, exactly. Just find that right balance for you. Find what works for you. It's not like with our jobs that are so intense and the babies and things that you have to take care of every day. I don't want to add up to my list one thing to track against. If you're doing that and you're happy with it, please do it.
Yeah,
right.
I think for
it's
me
perfect.
to take it seriously, I need tracking.
Yeah,
and I think it's also the scientific like prism or something. Like you have to see numbers to actually know what's wrong. Like I even track like numbers of hours of sleep, like all of that, and I'm trying to see where could we optimize. It has been working so far. Honestly, it's been working amazingly well because it's scientific. It's calories in, calories out, macros. And
absolutely.
But I was getting like overthinking it a lot.
That's the thing.
That's not good.
Because I know like when I was doing it and with the sports watch and everything, when you don't reach that goal or where you overeat or not work out enough, you feel the guilt, and the guilt eats you from the guilt you feel is the worst thing ever, because you feel like you're a failure, you fail your goals, and that's a thing you do at every single meal every day, because you're supposed to like do, I don't know, 5 workouts a day, eat XYZ calories per day. So if you're tracking against an everyday goal and I don't know, you fail 3 times a week, that's 3 failures a week. It's a lot for you to take, mentally
100%.
and emotionally. So I was like, if this works for you, amazing. If it doesn't, just find the right balance for you.
Yeah.
And I'm happy that it's working for you so far.
Thank you. And another one is that I got rid of Caberzel, the Moroccan sweets. I got rid of them. I actually gave them as a kissing gift. Anyways, we're not going to get into counting anymore. But yeah, that's a tiny win as well I'm taking this week. I got rid of that. Do you want to move to the section of parallel, not in parallel?
Let's do
Your
it.
favorite part.
Yeah.
So just a reminder, the theme for today is things we overthink. Although we thought a lot about this intro, by the way. We stayed a long time in it because we were
but
going back and forth.
Yeah, but there are so many things that are interesting to talk about. I mean, we need to have like one episode per topic and not like just maybe group everything because so many things to say.
But maybe these can be, umbrella episodes. And if we like, of course, you guys comment and engage with us. If you feel like you need us to discuss a bit more on a specific topic, we're happy to do so. We can run sessions of 3 hours, 4 hours talking about baby sleep or something like that. We're able to do that. So parallel, not in parallel. Just to re-explain the concept, we're both prepared a few statements, and we haven't seen each other's statements before seeing each other today. And the goal is to state the statement, and then each one of us will say, is she in parallel or not in parallel with the statement? Do you want to kick us off?
Let's do it. First statement. I overthink educational decisions.
Educational decisions. In parallel.
In parallel as well. Yeah, because today there is so many ways of educating your child, whether it's from, an academic perspective or even, teaching them, life. And there are so many schools of how you can or you need to do it. Some people tell you this is the right way. Some other people tell you the exact opposite. And it's good and it's important that you find what works for you, for your family, depending on how you grew up, what you want to teach your child, the values you want to teach them. And it goes to small details. For example, we as expats in Dubai, we are in a country where most people speak English and Arabic, but we do want our child to speak a third language. So, for example, deciding which parent speaks which language, that takes a lot of, decision making as well. So, yeah, that kind of stuff.
I completely agree with you on everything you've said. And again, we're going back to tracking and trying to figure it out. And I think it's also the syndrome of first of a class. You need to have it figured out in all aspects, including what kind of method you want to adopt and have with your kid. I agree with you on the languages. We were like, you know what? And we've tried it for a week and it didn't work. Yeah. I was so frustrated. We're we are French Moroccans. So we want her to learn Moroccan. We want her to learn French. And we want her to learn English as well. Yeah. So we were like, you know what? I'm going to speak French. My husband is going to speak Moroccan. But then it became something completely unnatural. Like even us growing up, we didn't speak fully Moroccan or fully French. It was mixed.
A mix of both.
At home, right? And we now speak both. And it's fine. Although now, unfortunately, I think 70 or 80% of what I tell her is in French because she goes to a French-speaking nursery. And if I speak in Arabic, she thinks I'm talking about her grandma. And she knows how to say, like words like akbar, like inshallah, mashallah, mama, like in the morning, she's like, mashallah.
Love it.
But she doesn't, I think she gets me when I tell her like, aji, come, or basic words. But I don't put pressure on myself anymore. I'm like, she's going to get it at some point. I've never seen, like, even kids that we know grow up in foreign countries, they understand Moroccan at some point, and we still have some time, to figure out how we're going to do it. It's just not on the plate for now.
Definitely. Yeah. Same applies to us as well. We tried at the beginning the OPOL method, one parent, one language. And with my husband, we thought my husband would do Arabic, I'll do French, and then she'll learn English with the nanny. And at school, with people everywhere in Dubai, we speak English. And then we realized that it was tough. We would be sitting, both of us playing with her, and I'll be like, he'll start speaking French intuitively. And I'll be like, switch, Arabic. And then he'd be like, okay. And then he switched back, and she would be lost, and she would be looking at both of us and not understand what's going on.
Yeah.
So like, let's just do it intuitively, speak to her naturally, how we feel like, it just comes straight out of your mouth, the way you're thinking, because as you said, we grew up mixing both, and ultimately we can't speak both, separately or mixing them, whatever works, Yeah. Let's not make it more complicated than it is. And, now we're just speaking both with her. She's picking up a few words and she's mixing them as well. I think ultimately she will learn how to speak both as well. And she's learning English really well. And the good thing is that she's joining your daughter in your nursery. Yeah, we did.
Amazing.
Well, she's gonna join after Ramadan, and I think it's
sooner. Wow.
Yeah, I'm really excited. I'm so excited because she'll be with your daughter in the same class, so she'll develop further, French skills.
Yes.
And at home we'll work more on the Arabic part. English is already well, so yeah. That's how we plan on doing it.
That's the best news. You should have started us with that.
Surprise.
I have a statement as well. I overthink whether my daughter is bored constantly.
Sorry, can you repeat that?
Whether my daughter is bored or not.
Can I be somewhere in between?
Yeah, of course. You can.
Yeah. So yeah, I think I'm kind of in between because I know that boredom is important. And I think I mentioned that in the last episode. It's important for them to learn how to be creative. But at the same time, I want her, to have things to do and not feel, I'm afraid of her being sad because she is bored, which I'm sure is not the case, but I'm just overthinking it. So I try to let her go outdoors as much as possible now that it's winter in Dubai. The weather is perfect. But sometimes, it rained a couple of days back last week. And, I felt like she was, just running around in the house and I wanted her to do something. So we started drawing at home. We did a lot of activities and it was fun. But I felt like, she wanted to go out. She was pushing me like to open the door and go out. But I think it's a good exercise to teach them that, they can't always have what they want. And, to teach them new things, come up with a new activity.
Yeah, I think we share the same answer. If she starts just going around in the living room and just like looking at her toys or whatever, I feel like I'm letting her down because she's bored. And I literally overthink that moment. And I'm like, well, I should be the entertainer. I should be doing something else. I should invent a new game. Of course, I have like 3 or 4 apps in my phone that tell me what kind of activities I should be doing. But I think I need to learn more how to just let go. Just let her get bored and experience boredom a bit more. I'm not there yet. I think she is... I don't want her to grow up to not know what boredom is because I'm constantly there and I'm constantly making sure that she's fine and not sad. That's you described it really well. I think we think they're sad, but probably they're not. They're just frustrated. They don't have anything else to do and they want to go through the creativity loop in their minds.
Exactly.
Right?
Let me tell you, ask you one question. So do you remember what your life looked like or what you did when you were 1 year and a half?
That's true. I have videos that
you remember it through others' memories, like when people tell you what you guys did together or through pictures or videos, but you don't actually remember yourself what you were doing when you were, I don't know, less than 3 years old, maybe.
That's true. That's a really good perspective.
Yeah, exactly. So every time I tell myself, if she's not going to remember, what she's going to, not remember, but what's her, what she's going to learn is the way, what you're teaching her now, like the values, the way to, how she's going to be, put in a mold, like how, because you're shaping her personality now. Yeah. And whether you're shaping her to always follow her, tell her what to do, help her with everything versus, letting her take initiative, do things on her own, and things like that.
I let her do stuff. And we have a word now in the house, like, tu veux de l'aide, like, you want help.
Yeah.
And like, she comes to me now, she's like, tu veux de l'aide, tu veux de l'aide, tu veux de l'aide. Like, she's saying, you need help, you need help, you need help. Because I don't want to always intervene. I want her to tell me when she needs help. But in my mind, everything that I said now is an internal dialogue. I just sit and wait, but I'm tormented. I'm not at peace with it, I think it's an internal work that needs to happen on my end to be able to enjoy that moment and be okay with the fact that she's bored,
Yeah.
Because even like yesterday, I was so tired. I was laying down on the couch and I was not resting because my body was resting maybe, but my mind was like, no, I should be doing something with her, Anyways, that's my statement. Do you want to walk us through your second statement?
Yeah, let's do it. So second statement I have is I overthink how I come across more than I should.
In your parenting role, in your motherhood, or overall?
In general, as a mother, as a mom, as a woman, as a mom.
Individual. Yeah, in parallel.
Goes back to overthinking again. You want to give that perfect image sometimes, but the perfect image doesn't exist. It's in our minds. We have a perfect image in our mind. It might not be another person's perfect image. So,
and I think people will always find something that is not working. I think it's just human nature to always find the flaw because we don't share the same backgrounds. We don't share the same educational prisms or the way, I love this word today, prisms, like that. But the way we approach life and we approach life and values is completely different. But it's easier said than done. Of course, when you're doing something, you're like, what would people think about me if I'm doing this and not that, etc., etc. Something happened. So you know how at this age they start exploring action-reaction, like cause and effect?
Yeah.
My daughter discovered, but it stopped now, thank God. She discovered that if I hit someone, then there is a reaction. Someone is me. She's not hitting kids. But I reacted the first time because I was shocked. I was like, like I gave her something. So she started doing it like a couple of times and I was super scared. I was like, oh my God, it happened to me in an elevator full of people. And she hit me on the face and she kept hitting me on the face. And I was like, I felt like at that moment, I overthink what people thought about me. as a mom, am I a good mom? Am I not a good mom for not, handling the situation or not arriving at that stage in which she's hitting me? You know what I mean? But I feel in most social situations, what I agreed with myself on doing is that I should not pay the price of the shame that I'm feeling from external exposure. My daughter pay the price of the shame that I'm feeling from external exposure. Educating her and my parenting should not be linked to that. And who cares? She hits me, it's okay. I'm going to teach her that it's not good. It's not how we deal with it, basically, or with people. But I should not look at whatever is happening on the external. And that's just one example. So I took her hand and I was like, no, just, soft strokes, soft strokes. So now I'm getting soft strokes without asking, like she's not hitting me anymore. But at that moment, if I had reacted, and we've seen this happen so many times in our childhood as well, not talking about our parents, but we've seen it happen, like you would make your kid pay the price of what you're feeling, the shame you're feeling as a parent or as an adult, you would make your kid pay for it somehow,
I'm seeing this is a good segue to the other thing I wanted to mention, because I also see it from the other side as well.
Yeah.
Because we grew up. I don't know how people do it around the world as well, but I'm sure it's the same. Sometimes when kids at this age, one toddler, they go around and meet new people, and sometimes people want to go and give them a small kiss or want to talk to them, and sometimes your kid by default you're their safe space.
Yeah.
So they come and, they don't want to talk specifically to this person, or they want to, depending on their mood, what's happened that day. There are a lot of factors that come into consideration. So a lot of time what I see and what I grew up seeing as well, how I felt, the people, when I don't want to go to someone or say hi to someone or kiss them on the cheek because they want me to, people say, oh, she's shy, she's shy. No. I want to break that. The thing that happened is that a lot of moms acknowledge it. They're like, yeah, she's shy. I don't want that to happen with my daughter because she's not shy. She's just not in her comfort zone. She wants to take time to get to know you, to trust you before she wants to play with you or hug you or whatever. Mm-hmm. So what I'm doing now, and I think this is a very good practice for all people out there who have kids, is when someone says, oh, your kid is shy, correct them. Tell them, no, they're not shy.
In front of your child.
In front of the child, so that the child does not interiorize that feeling. Because myself, I'm talking about my personal experience. I grew up, not as an introvert, but I take time to trust people and go towards them. And I had that, label on my forehead. Oh, she's shy, she's an introvert, she's that, whatever. Yeah. And I grew up thinking, for the better of my life, that I was actually shy, but I'm not. I just take time to think things through, to understand and be sure that I can trust that person and, go forward with them and, trust them with, my space.
100%.
Now, when people say, oh, your daughter is shy, I say straight away and in front of her, no, she's not shy. She's just taking her time. She doesn't know you. She wants to be able to trust you. And I think that's very important.
Yeah, I agree with you. I relate on giving the kiss on the cheek or giving a hug. We ask a question, even as per her parents, like, can I have a hug? And if she says no most of the time because she wants to play. It's fine.
Yeah, it's fine.
And her teacher came to me and she said, I asked for a hug and she said no, and I love that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think parents of all generations did the best they could do given the resources and the means they had. Now I don't think we have an excuse. Like we have so many resources. You guys have this podcast. Like we have so many things available that it's just, you decide what kind of style you want to have as a parent, and no one would judge you for that because it's your own experience. But you cannot do things out of ignorance or like not knowing that this is the way of doing things. I think being a parent should also be something you take seriously. It's a role that you need to take seriously. It's not something that happens just by default or like it's like just things that are supposed to happen because it's a life milestone. It's a life project that stays with you forever. My statement is, if I'm overthinking if I'm creating bad habits. For example, rocking to sleep, or the pacifier that we still have, or contact naps way before. But that changed very quickly, by the way. But at first, I was super worried about the contact naps. Do you want to?
Absolutely agree with that.
Parallel,
I can relate so much. Yeah, contact naps and contact overnight sleep. I had honestly, I do miss it sometimes now. Because now try having a nap with your toddler like on top of you. Good luck with that. Sometimes I crave it, to be honest, but it was super hard at the beginning though. As a new mom, you don't know if you're doing the right thing because you hear everywhere that, oh, keep doing that for one more week and you'll have, a 5-year-old always, on top of you. They don't want to sleep anywhere. I can tell you guys now that my daughter's sleeping in her own bed, in her own room, perfectly, she's fine. But for the longest time, she was always on me to sleep. She needed that contact. And it's normal, they've been in your belly for 9 months and they just come out of there and you want to separate them. I feel like it's almost unnatural. They need that contact to feel, to smell you, to feel secure, to feel like, it's their safe space. So it's almost, as I said, unnatural to break that bond. It's also, the first day. So you want to build that bond even more. So I just, didn't try to not overthink it.
When we met, we were both doing contact naps with them, right? They were carried. You keep hearing from elders, from people around you who've been there. Oh, you're gonna build she's gonna be super dependent. And deep down, I was like, yeah, be super dependent. I'm your mom, like I don't want to be separated from you for a while. But you definitely overthink it at the beginning. The pacifier as well. I tried to remove it at 4 months because I was told by a sleep professional that it was either now or never.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, I put her through a crying session. Not a long crying session. She cried, I think, for 5 minutes because I removed it. And then I put it back and I was like, I'm never taking this away from you because I've never seen a college student with a pacifier in their mouth. So she'll be fine. She'll be fine. She'll be fine.
Yeah.
Same thing for the rocking to sleep. She's, she's older now. I still rock her for like a couple of minutes with a little song and then I put her to bed. I know that most sleep professionals would tell you, no, don't do that because they're going to get dependent on that. And whenever they would wake up at night, they would, claim they would want to have the same experience as they had when they closed their eyes. But it's not the case for us. It's working for us. She gets her, like good night ritual and that's it. And it's good for me as well because I feel like, okay, this is a closure. We're closing the day now through that as well. So it's not a bad habit.
For the pacifier issue, I lived a slightly different experience in the sense that I was completely against it at the beginning. I did not give my daughter the pacifier at the beginning when she was born because I thought it could create, I read that it could create, confusion with breastfeeding and all of that. And I didn't even give her, a bottle at the beginning. Then 4-6 weeks forward, they tell you that, after a few weeks, they get used to, how to breastfeed and all of that. So you can introduce a bottle, you can introduce a pacifier if you want to. So
Correct.
We tried introducing it then, I think, say at a 6-week mark, and she would not take it for the life. I think I tried like 5 different pacifier brands. She would not take any of them. I kept trying a bit, and my husband was just let it go. If she doesn't want it, she doesn't want it, and it's fine. But, at that age, and I think before 6 months, they still have that suction reflex.
Yep.
So either it's the pacifier or it's you. I think if you know, you know.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
And I thought, it's sleepless nights for me. I wake up super tired because I've been up all night with her because she needs that contact and everything. So I really wanted to introduce the pacifier more for me, for a break physically and mentally as well. So I kept pushing and trying, and she ultimately took it. And then came the 6-month mark, and I wanted to remove it. But at that time, I was like, this is too good. I'm not going to remove it. Yeah, it helps them calm so much. Part of me, I'm like, the extra mom who doesn't want any plastic, all of that.
Are you one of those moms?
I am, unfortunately. I'm trying to go all natural and all of that. But at the same time, I'm like, for my own well-being, just let it be,
You can't have it all again.
Yeah,
you can't choose to be all natural in all aspects. I know also a lot of natural moms around me, and it's fine. But I don't think you can eliminate every single aspect from your life. It's very hard. It's like it takes also living off grid or something. If you want to have it like a full natural experience, you should be, in a farm somewhere.
Exactly.
I mean, that could be a good retirement plan, but not for now.
What we did though is that we try to only keep it for nap time and sleep time at night, and she removes it on her own after she sleeps.
And car seats as well, no?
Car seats, no. It was only for sleep time. We introduced it and kept it as a ritual, as a signal to go to sleep.
Yeah.
So that's where we're at now. But at her first appointment with her dentist, the dentist actually, gave me more comfort in for my decision. And she said that with most parents, what she does, because she said the most important like mark, when you have to kind of like go for the pacifier is the 2.5 to 3-year-old mark, because that's when the palate and the jaw develops and all of that. So
We have time. Yeah.
exactly, we have
Okay.
time. I thought, and there is this thing that she does, and I think this is super important, that she lets the child let go of the pacifier themselves, so it's their choice. They don't go back on.
And they understand a bit of choice at that age. Yeah.
Exactly. When they're a bit older, 2-3 years old, they understand it. So there's like this small bucket in the dentist's office, and there's like a small drawing. It says the fairy tales house, and the baby comes in, and she tells them that the fairy tale.
Fairy.
The fairy. Sorry. Yeah, the fairy is gonna take the pacifier and give it to a new baby who needs it.
So sweet.
Yeah, so at that age, a lot of babies want to play with other babies. They start playing with dolls and all of that. So they're like, oh, I'm helping another baby. And they give it themselves like willfully.
Okay.
So they go and drop the pacifier, and they leave the office, and they know the pacifier was left there. The fairy is going to take the pacifier, and they're never going to see it again.
I love that.
Of course, as a parent, keep one just in case. Yeah,
Well,
but yeah.
As you were going through your beautiful explanation of this experience,
Yeah.
I was trying to understand if I can relate. And guess what? You know what she's asking for at the moment? She's asking for 2-3 pacifiers to sleep. Yeah. Yep. And
Wow.
she says 2-3 tétines, like in French.
Really?
2-3. I swear to God. We have one that we've attached to a doudou, to a small toy that she has. And she wants another one that she puts on her eye, and another one in her hand just in case. I swear to God, because she knows I'm always like trying to remove them from non-sleep situations. So now she needs 3 to sleep. So good luck to me. I think we need 3 kids when we reach that stage.
Take notes, parents. Take notes.
I think it's going to be harder. Yeah. Why did I get there? Because I tried the method of giving them 3 pacifiers or like 4 pacifiers in their bed. And at night, because I was waking up constantly to replace the pacifier, she would just find them and play with them. Or you know what she was started doing? Like throwing them on the floor so that I can come and get her. And by the way, I don't have any bumpers. I have nothing in the crib because it's not safe to have anything to cover the edges of the bed. So if I was okay with the idea of the pacifiers just falling through the rails, and the idea was better for me than having a bumper there. And,
One quick tip that could help maybe parents out there who are living the same situation. What I did on my end, I think at this age, also a year and a half, the SIDS risk is much lower. SIDS, guys, is
sudden death,
infant syndrome, something like that.
Yes.
Yeah. So
sudden infant
death syndrome. Yeah.
SIDS.
Exactly. So I think at 1 year and a half, we're a bit safer.
I think we're very safe to have even plush toys in the crib. But I'm neurotic, you know this. I'm crazy with these things because I won't sleep. I know myself. I won't sleep. Do you want to take us through your statement?
Let's see, one last one. Sometimes I overthink my daughter crying, and I hear ghost crying when she sleeps.
You overthink when she's crying?
You overthink situations where she cried and how you comforted her, and as a consequence, sometimes you hear ghost crying.
What does that mean?
Like hearing crying without it being without her, she would be, for example, sleeping, and you would hear crying, but there's nothing going on.
Yes. I mean, if you hear a ring, it's like the notifications you get on Instagram. You hear ghost notifications. Sometimes at night, I would wake up and I would think she was crying, but she's not.
Exactly, yeah.
And especially at the beginning, remember newborn years? It's the newborn years. Yes, it felt like years, but those were months, but it felt like years. I would hear her crying everywhere. Remember when you came to our house and your daughter started crying, and I thought it was mine?
Yeah.
They had the same cry. I don't know why. They had the same cry. But I would hear her everywhere all the time.
Sometimes when I go out on my own somewhere else and I hear crying, I just automatically turn and check around me because my brain directly links to my daughter's crying, and I think she's around, maybe something's going on, even though it's not another parent's kid. So it's definitely a thing for me.
Sumaya, speaking of overthinking crying, I have something I'm really struggling with. I'm really trying to work on it. It affects me deeply when she cries. It's not like I become sad or something. I just feel like I go into panic mode, and I don't show it, but I'm not okay. Like I feel like my breathing is not even, and I'm getting stressed because I don't know. I feel like it's the link I made in my mind with crying, and that's like an absolute emergency situation, and my brain goes into flight or flight. Flight mode. I don't know how to deal with it. How do you deal with it? Like if she's crying, like or throwing a tantrum, how do you keep your calm?
So, we started doing this thing recently and it worked wonders for us. I just hug her and I ask her to take a deep breath. We both take a deep breath at the same time and just tap her gently on the back and she calms down. We both calm down actually.
I do that. I like when it happens, like when she just starts crying, I go like, "Poof," and then I have to calm myself down. I like that because I have to bring myself down, or else I'm just.
I think I don't think you can necessarily help with that because I think as moms, when you give birth, our brain chemically changes and it's naturally changes towards getting the signals. Your baby's in distress, whatever. So your brain is formatted so that you react to when your baby is crying. So you can I feel like you cannot help it.
Can you keep a conversation with an adult while she's crying?
Absolutely not.
Right?
Absolutely.
So I'm not alone.
My brain is always somewhere. She's crying in the background. Maybe I'm looking at you, but my brain is
right.
Over
like you
there.
kind of check out during the conversation.
Sure.
You're like out of it, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. I felt like I was a bit weird in that sense because I've seen moms like handle conversations and they're like they would have a toddler in their one arm and like joking with their friend and like the toddler would be like and they're still having that conversation and I'm not that at that stage. Speaking of comparing ourselves with others and like overthinking how good of a mother we are as well. I think I cannot have a conversation when she's crying.
Yeah, I don't think I can either.
Yeah. Do you want to do one more statement?
Sure, let's do.
I have a very strong one.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sometimes overthinking if I'm enjoying motherhood the right way. If I'm not being too tired for it at some points, or if I'm not being too grateful enough for it. I feel like sometimes when I'm complaining, and I do that every day, you know that, I feel like I should not be complaining. And I overthink whether I should be complaining because it's supposed to be, it's a gift and it is, and it's the most beautiful thing. But every time I'm having an interaction like that, like in which I just want to let go, I overthink it.
I'm completely in parallel, I think. And I think every mom would feel the same way. Just because, depending on your mood, what's happening in your life, you feel like sometimes you're 60% at work, 40% with your daughter. Sometimes you're 90% with her, 10% at work. And there is never a 50-50 balance. You always have to let go of something and give more to another. And it's normal to feel that way.
Yeah. I'm feeling less lonely today. Thank you. I feel like we agree on a lot of stuff. We haven't had any single statement in which we were not in parallel. I think overthinking is a common umbrella theme for moms, I think, at this stage, right? It just depends on things that you overthink versus not. And I think the whole idea of this episode is that it's fine to overthink stuff. You're not supposed to have it all figured out, right?
Yeah. If you're overthinking it, just know you're not alone. All moms out there are probably going through the same thing. And this episode was not to fix things or tell you how to make the right choices or tell you how to live your motherhood journey. This episode just to tell you that out there is a lot of moms just like us who are living the same thing in parallel.
Absolutely. Well, if you like this episode, please make sure to like and subscribe and stay tuned for our next episode. Take care.